Hello, everybody. This is MoveEasy Yoga with Via. Kathy's on the floor. She's going to model for us as usual. We're going to start in the usual fashion, and today's date is very spooky, October 31st, 2020. Let's start in the ordinary fashion. Oh, you know what? I want you to sit up. We're going to do something else. We're going to do a vagus nerve reset I saw, which will help you know that there are actually a number of ways you can reset your vagus nerve. You're going to sit in start in a comfortable seated position and put one hand on your chest and then the other and pull down a little bit. And you're still going to wait, by the way, for an involuntary sigh, yawn, swallow, or gulp. Pull down on your chest at the sternum, and then take your right ear up towards the sky. And so the thought is to, rather than saying to drop your ear to your right ear is going up to the sky. Now you're going to wait for a sigh, swallow, yawn, or gulp, or burp.
Now, where's your left hand again? Is it
Top of the right hand. Both hands are on the sternum, stacked, pulling down gently. Now, when I did this to try it out, it worked right away. Now I'm sitting here waiting and wondering, but
Oh, it's working right away with me.
and then come on back. Switch the stack of your hands and pull again on the skin on your chest. And lift your ear, left ear up towards the sky. Wait for involuntary sigh, yawn, swallow, gulp. When you're done, come back to center. Do it 2 more times. Left, right, or right, left, right, left. Remember to switch hands, hand stacks. And come bring your head back up to center. Bring your hands behind your head at your occipital ridge. Interlace your fingers or stack your hands. We're going to do a seated head ramping, just because we're here. So go ahead and press the occipital ridge into your hands. The skull will slide upward toward the sky, toward the ceiling. Chin will drop a little. And just take some breaths here, just a couple. And then release. And then do it again 2 more times. Pressing your head, the base of your skull back into your hands. If you yawn, it's because this is probably another way to release your vagus nerve. There's yoga itself releases the vagus nerve. The reason I introduced my vagus nerve reset, well, actually Stanley Rosenberg's vagus nerve reset, because I think it's the quickest, easiest way to do it. And one more. And then go ahead and lie on the floor again. No, let's see. No, we're going to do, here's what we're going to do. We're going to do a breathing pattern with, come on your hands and knees, get on your hands and knees. And then drop onto your folded arms. Drop your chest onto your folded arms, or your head onto your folded arms, all the way down. Nice. This is called proning. You're going to go ahead and do any breath, just breathing, but be sure that you breathe big at the back of your lungs. So I wanted to post this on my Facebook page, but someone sent this to me. And it's a doctor in Florida talking about proning. So if you're here, if you have COVID, if you don't have COVID, you know what this is going to do is allow you to breathe freely in the biggest part of the lungs. If you do have COVID in the hospital, people are, doctors are, instead of doing ventilators, they're doing proning. This is called proning because you're prone. And if you have phlegm in your lungs, which is one of the things that happens, you get congested, you can start coughing down here. So Kathy could do a few coughs. And this will help. So I love this. So stay here, you guys, and breathe and make sure that you're filling the back of your lungs. It's easier to fill the back of the lungs when you're prone than when you're supine, because when you're supine, the floor is compressing the lungs in the back. Proning. Tell your friends, especially your friends with COVID. Apparently this is what doctors, at least some doctors are doing, ICU units are doing. Instead of, or before they decided it's serious enough to put people on a ventilator. Ventilators aren't working very much anyway. They're very painful too. Fill up the back of the lungs. Finish up, come up and down all to hands and knees. We're going to do a hypopressive on hands and knees. So except on this one, you're going to start with hands and knees, but drop to your elbows and make a triangle between your hands and your elbows, and drop your head. And you're gonna take 3 breaths, and then I'm gonna count to 14 while you hold your breath out. So remember, you have a triangle with your elbows this time. This is a form of proning too, isn't it? Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Last one, inhale. Exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And just release. You can come up onto your hands and knees and then come back down. We'll do this twice. Come on down. And 3 breaths. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. You might as well fill your back of your lungs. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. No breath. Hold your breath out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And go ahead and let go. Come to your back with your strap. We're going to do leg stretch 1 and 2 and a glute stretch. So that's proning. Actually, apparently, even just rolling someone over onto their belly, and maybe next time we'll do crocodile breath, which is a prone breath, will also helps because it allows the COVID patient to breathe into the back of the lungs. I'm telling you all of you this so that you can share it with your friends and your family with COVID. The first leg stretch 1, leg is up towards the ceiling. I'm going to time it for 40 seconds because this is a bone building pose. It does a number of other things, but it builds bone, reverses osteoporosis at the hip socket and the femur, head of the femur. Just stay here and breathe. Keep your hips on the floor so you're not going to tilt the pelvis here. You're from a neutral pelvis position. And now go ahead and stay on this side for leg stretch 3 on the right. Just take your foot out to the right. Remember, you're going to try to keep your pelvis, both sides of the pelvis, on the floor, resting on the floor. You may even want to press your left hand on your ASIS, that little bony landmark on the top of your pelvis on the left side to keep it down. Just stay here. You can move your toes a little closer to your face. Remember to drop your left hip. Four more seconds. Come back up. Switch sides, left leg, leg stretch 1. Remember to keep your hips on the floor. Stay on this side. Bring your strap and your leg out to the left. Keep your right hip on the floor. That's the challenge. Don't go down if your right hip raises, that's as far as you should be going, or a little before that. So stop before your right hip rises. I don't know which is right, rises or raises.
Goes up.
Right there. That's a workaround, a linguistic workaround. And now bring it up, remove your strap, you bend your knees, feet up flat on the floor, open your legs a little bit, your feet and your legs a little bit, and you're gonna we're gonna do a glute stretch, a Ki-Hara glute stretch. So you're gonna drop your right knee toward the inside, toward the left. Yes, and then put your left foot or ankle on top of the right knee. So you might want to take your knee a little farther, closer to, it's more, yeah, up a little bit higher. Can you take your knee up a little higher?
What do you mean by up?
Yes, there, now drop it. I think it's, now make sure that so we're going to just stay here for 40 seconds. So no, let's make this a Ki-Hara stretch, not a static stretch. Sorry. So here's what you're going to do. The ankle presses on the knee, the bottom knee, and pushes it down, but the knee resists the downward movement. And then when you come back up, the same thing is happening. The knee is going up, the weight of the ankle is resisting the upward movement of the knee. So this is a Ki-Hara resistance stretch, always moving, always resisting. This is a really nice stretch for the top of the thigh, the glutes, the top and the outside of the top of the glutes. Do it a couple more times and then you can switch sides. Slowly, with awareness, with resistance, always moving, always breathing. And then switch sides. Drop your left knee. So drop it, so you're dropping it down toward the other end of the mat. I want you to drop it out to the side of the mat, the long side of the mat. No, drop it inward towards okay, so let's see here. How am I gonna, it's more, but I want your knee to be a little more up towards your other hip. So see how your knee is pointing towards the end of the mat? I want it to point toward the long side of the mat. Yeah, more like that. Now, yeah, that's it.
Okay.
Now, remember that the ankle and the foot is providing resistance to the upward movement of the left knee. And then when you come down, the ankle is winning and the knee is resisting. So always resisting. So you're actually creating both strength. In a Ki-Hara stretch, you're creating both strength and stretch, or strength and mobility. So when you're coming down, when the knee is coming down, that's the stretch. You can almost tell which side is the stretch. The other side is the strength side. But the reason you're creating strength is because you're resisting the upward movement. Okie dokie, you can stop that. Find your sponge ball. If you don't have a sponge ball, I think maybe everyone has a sponge ball, and except Christina, and she has a reasonable substitute. I think it's a reasonable substitute. Lie on your stomach with your sponge ball. We're going to do the whole sponge ball, abdominal sponge ball series. By the way, this is another way to breathe on the back, at the back of the lungs, because we're prone. Put your sponge ball at the belly button. Make sure the pokey thing is down so it doesn't. Right in the middle of the belly button. We're gonna actually have two more locations. One is a little above the belly button and one is a little bit below it. But for right now, we're right on the belly button. And just stay here. The first thing you're gonna do is just breathe. Compression, body weight on the ball. And you can be up on your elbows, you can be down on your folded arms. Either way, try it both ways. So this is going to be very foreign to those of you, to many of you, including those who have never done this before, because you are actually massaging the organs. One of the things you're doing, and that's going to be what you'll notice first. Wait a minute, something's touching my organs. Nothing ever touches my organs. Even a masseuse is not allowed to touch the belly in most states. And now make a small movement up and down. So you might want to be up on your elbows by now, and elbows and toes. Just a little bit up above the belly button and a little bit below, and just make it slow and easy. And then do a small side-to-side movement. Actually, this works better without clothes on, without clothes in this area. So if you're doing it in your home practice and everybody's okay with it, you could, pull your shirt away from.
That would not be modeled today.
Kathy is not going to model that today. She has her boundaries. She has a lot of good boundaries, including that one. And now come back to not moving. And this time you're going to move with your breath. So just inhale and hold the breath a little bit, contract, and then relax the breath. And see how this actually moves the organs and the ball. And the inhale, deep inhale, maybe make it into the back of the lungs too, might as well. And then hold the breath for just a little bit. So you're contracting, and then go ahead and relax. Let the breath go. And do it again. And one more time. Is this ball working for you, Christine? No, not so much. If it doesn't work for you, make a round, put a towel into a little ball and work on that. And get a sponge ball as soon as possible. Okay, we're going to go to the second location, you guys. This time you're going to take the ball a little bit below the navel. First below, and then we'll do above. And then it's the same movements. Well, first you're not going to move at all. It's called compression. Just stay and rest and breathe. Notice that you get to breathe into into the largest area of the lungs, which gets compressed when you're in supine. And then start to go back and forth. So just a back and forth. Parvin just came into the class.
Hi, Parvin.
I don't know if she's here yet, but I let her in. Back and forth. We're doing the abdominal sponge ball series. Parvin, we're in the middle of it. Back and forth and then side to side. Oh, back and forth, side to side. Let's see, let me clarify this. So there's up and down, which we just did, and now we're doing side to side. So if I say back and forth, when we're side to side, it means side to side. But if I say back and forth, when you're doing up and down, it means up and down. Sorry. That's what I'm thinking. Let's go to the third position, which is the sponge ball is above the navel. This is more working on the respiratory organs. So just stay here and rest, compress the body weight on the ball that is just below the rib cage and just above the navel. Breathe, big breaths into the back of the lungs. And now you may want to come up onto your elbows and your toes and roll up and down, up and down. A little bit up, a little bit down. And then side to side. I think I forgot to do the contract, relax on the last location, but that's okay. It's okay. But we'll do it here.
Shirt's getting off.
Now, yeah, your shirt might get all curled up in the ball. You have to uncurl. So when you're finished with side to side, come back to neutral. And we're going to do contract, relax. So on an inhale, you're going to pull everything in, your belly away from the ball. hold for a couple breaths, and then relax. And you should feel this. It's another way to move the organs, basically, and to massage this area. Inhale, and hold the inhale at the top for a couple breaths. And then exhale, relax, contract, relax. And one more time, contract and relax. And then go ahead and so finish. Well, why don't you just take the ball away and rest in a crocodile position, which is with prone with your arms folded, and see if you can notice what happened with the abdominal sponge ball, abdominal massage series. And then if you can't notice it when you're on your belly, find your way onto your back, because we're going to be there next anyway, because we're going to put the sponge ball into the back. But if the floor is keeping you from exploring what happened with that series, then lie on your back and maybe you'll be able to feel it better. Just what happened here. And you can tell me after class if you want what happens. Or in the chat box. Okay, now you're just going to make a chest opener with the sponge ball, just because I want to show you what some of the other things can be done. So just go ahead and put the sponge ball just between the shoulder blades and the rhomboids. And you may or may not need to have some towels under your head. So you don't want to hyperextend your head. You want to be sure that it's in neutral. The cervical spine's in neutral. The sponge ball is between the shoulder blades and the rhomboids, and you're going to open up. You can bring your hands, well, there's several things you could do. Bring your arms beside you in a T or a cactus shape. That ball might be a little lower than your shoulder blades, Kathy, but I'm never absolutely certain.
No, you're right. Yeah, a little higher.
Yeah, so it's not below the shoulder blades, it's between the shoulder blades. And just stay here and rest. You don't have to do anything, but you can explore things like putting your arms out in an airplane, putting your arms in cactus pose. You can do overhead arms. You can do internal, external rotation of the arms, the straight arms up to the ceiling. Or not, or just rest. This should feel good on your upper back. We're going to come up to standing with one brick, one yoga block, thin or thick. If you have a lot of boobage, thick yoga brick. We're gonna do a chest opener, pec minor, and clavicle opener with the therapy balls. Either size will work. If you don't have therapy balls, then you can use a tennis ball, but I recommend getting some therapy balls, yoga tune-up therapy balls, branded, because they're the only ones I know for sure what they do. One ball, one brick, one wall, one body, face the wall. One body. One amazing body. So you want to place the ball at the corner where your pec minor meets the head of the arm bone, and then move it towards the brick, which should be by that time, right in front of the ball. Just stay here and breathe. This little spot you're finding, you should be able to feel it. We hold a lot of tension right there. Most people will be able to feel it. Just stay here and breathe. And then if you want to, you can come into technical snow angel on that side. Just the arm comes out and start with an externally rotated arm. So all the way, no, the other direction, that's internal. Yes, now come up to your ears. And then palm faces the wall and then come down. This is a technical snow angel. We don't usually do it here, but this is a very interesting place to be doing it, actually. Just know that in therapy wall work, you can be moving, you can be not moving, compression, you could be moving over the ball, or you can just move an appendage like this, move an arm, which moves the ball. Now go stop your technical snow angel and bend your knees so you're going up and down over the ball, moving the body over the ball. If this is hard on you, I think Diana sometimes does this on the wall. I mean, no, that's not true. This does this without the wall, just sits and rolls the ball over this area because pressing against the wall is too much. I may be misquoting her, but that is an alternative, even if it's not hers. And after you've done the up and down movement with your bent knees, bent and unbent knees, then go ahead and just go side to side. It's a small movement though. You're not going all the way to the center of the chest. Just a small movement side to side over this area, pec minor. We're opening up the chest at pec minor, at the insertion point for pec minor. We're going to stay on this side and work on the clavicle. So this time, place the ball. It's actually near where we started before, but a little higher because you want it to be just under the outside edge of your clavicle. Clavicle is the collarbone. We hold a lot of tension and we're going to work the ball, move the ball all the way from the outside edge of the clavicle to the inside where the clavicle meets the sternum. So you're going to go from side to side. You may need to change the relationship of your ball to the block to do this. Side to side, back and forth. All the way to the inside. This time you're moving quite a bit. And all the way to the outside. If you start to feel breathless, that's what I start to feel when I do these movements. It's because you're opening the chest and you're opening the lungs. Well, opening the chest and allowing the lungs to breathe deeper. Actually, this would probably be good for COVID too. this set of moves. We should bring yoga to the COVID patients. And go ahead and switch sides and start with the pec minor release. So you're up in the corner there. The first thing I want you to do is just stay there and breathe, compression. And then whenever you're ready, go ahead and do the technical snow angels. So externally rotate your arm as far, rotate as possible, bring it up by the ear. When you get here, reduce the external rotation, but you're still externally rotated, and then bring your arm down. And so the upward motion is extremely externally rotated, and the downward motion is somewhat externally rotated. And you're pressing on the ball at that point where the pec minor attaches to the arm bone. A couple more times. And one more. And now bend your knee. So stop moving your arm and just bend your knee and unbend it. Up and down you go. And then small side to side movement. You're not going very far. If you have a heart rate monitor like I do, I think maybe I'm the only one in the class that does, but you'll need to bypass the heart rate monitor with your strokes.
Or you're talking about your pacemaker.
Pacemaker, I'm sorry, pacemaker. Heart rate monitor, but it also is a pacer.
Right.
There are heart rate monitors that are not pacers. I think Diane has one of those, actually, right now, for now. Okay. Now we're going to work on the clavicle, underneath side, at the bottom of the clavicle. So starting at the outside edge of the clavicle, roll your ball underneath the clavicle all the way to the sternum and back. Stop that. And we're going to do a standing back bend at the wall. Actually, this series, this chest opening series, may change the way you feel about, or that you actually execute the back bend at the wall. Now, Gloria, who's not here today, has some rib cage issues. And between me and my body worker, we've decided that it's probably not a good idea for her to go take her arms overhead. If you have the same issue, I don't think any others have a similar issue, but if you do, you might talk to me about an alternative for this. Go ahead and bring your arms up and over. I love this one. I love this one, this movement for bone building, for one thing. And I'm going to time it once I find the timer. So remember that the point is to have an upper back bend. So you're not bending at the lumbar. And the timer is going. You're not bending at the lumbar, you're bending at the upper back, and your hips, knees, and ankles are stacked, stay stacked. So you're not pressing your hips forward. 4 more seconds. Come on out. Gradually, we're going to do the spine twist at the wall. So starting with the right shoulder at the wall, the right leg forward, the left leg back, and then bend your elbows and rotate your upper back, once again, your upper spine, mid and upper spine. And some, your hands, some people just get your fingertips on the wall, some people get your hands, some people get the entire forearm. Do your very best and use whatever you have with your hands on the wall, or all the way down the arms to the elbows if you have that. Use whatever that is to help you structure and increase the spine twist. Two seconds. Unravel. Slowly come to the other side. Left shoulder at the wall, left foot forward, right foot back, bend your elbows and twist, spine twist at the wall. This is like this is part of the main part of a triangle, a yoga triangle. There's a side bend usually involved also, but the spine rotation, well, it's only when it's a standing triangle is there a side bend involved actually. So if you're seated, our seated triangle is very similar to this. Just breathing and enjoying the twist and knowing that you are building new bones, new bone density, new bone quality. Come on back. And find your way onto the floor. I was going to do the proning position here, but we already did that. That fit in nicely at the beginning. But don't forget it. I think it's quite profound that some of the things we are already doing would help with COVID. And you can maintain good respiratory health to prevent COVID or to fight it when you get there, if you get there. Hopefully you don't get there. Prone back extension. Just lying on the floor with your arms beside your hips, palms up. Inhale to repair. Exhale, lift your chest. Your head, remember you're in a head ramping position. So you're actually sliding the back of your skull and lengthening it, sliding and lengthening. And Staying here as long as you can. I'm timing for 40 seconds. You can come out early if you need to. Just take an inhale and then an exhale and come on out. Don't you do that, Kathy, yet, unless you have to. But I'm not cueing getting out. I'm just telling you, you can get out early if you need to. We have 10 more seconds. And you can come up a little higher if you want. Now take an inhale to prepare to return, and then an exhale and return to the floor. And then come on up into airplane. So this time we're just going to come up, take an inhale, exhale, lift. Lift the arms on your exhale. And I wonder if Kathy can't hear me. There she goes. Okay, take an inhale again, and then exhale and bring your arms out to the side. And we're going to start to time this movement, 40 seconds. This is a bone building movement. It actually is building also muscle strength along the muscles that run along the side of the spine. And if you want to, or if you dare, you can bring your chest up a little higher. This is going to be a much smaller, my movement is smaller than Kathy's movement. I don't do this as often as Kathy. But the more you do it, the better you'll get at it. It's a very valuable pose. That's why we do it almost every week. Not last time though. Come on down. And I don't think we're going to go ahead and, no, let's go ahead and do this. We might be a few minutes over. Go ahead and bring your arms, you're still prone, bring your arms out in a T. Keep your arms down on the floor, look to the right, lift your right leg. And your leg and hips go over to the left, over and behind the left leg. Keep your arms on the floor. Keep your arms, armpits, forearms, hands, shoulders on the floor. And take some breaths. I'm not gonna time this time. And then come on back and do the same thing on the other side. Look left. Left leg lifts, goes over the hips and the legs can go as far back over the other leg as they can, as your body allows, as long as you are not lifting your left shoulder really is the one that's gonna try to lift. Keep it on the floor. Stay here and breathe. Maybe you're going to feel the vertebra adjusting in your upper back. And then come on back. Find your way onto your back. We're going to do Yoga Nidra, 61-point guided meditation, our standard closing for the class. Start to pay attention to your breath, breathing in and breathing out. And then bring your attention and awareness to the following points. Center, I'm losing my voice, center of your eyebrows, center of your throat, right shoulder, elbow, wrist, right thumb, second finger, third finger, fourth finger, fifth finger, right wrist, elbow, shoulder, center of your throat, left shoulder, elbow, wrist, left thumb, second finger, third finger, fourth finger, fifth finger, left wrist, elbow, shoulder, center of your throat, spiritual heart center, right side of your chest, heart center, left side of your chest, heart center, navel center, center of your pelvis, right hip, knee, ankle, right big toe, second toe, third toe, fourth toe, fifth toe, right ankle, knee, hip, center of your pelvis, left hip, knee, ankle, left big toe, second toe, third toe, fourth toe, fifth toe, left ankle, knee, hip, center of your pelvis, navel center, heart center, center of your throat, center of your eyebrows. This concludes the 61-point guided Yoga Nidra meditation. Go ahead and stretch your legs out on the mat if they're bent. Bring your arms overhead. Stretch, wiggle, and stretch. Try to create additional space between your pelvis and your rib cage. Wiggle your fingers and your toes. Wiggle your, circle your wrists and your ankles. Hug your right knee to your chest. And then your left. Hug both knees to your chest and rock from side to side. Several more times, and then whenever you're ready, roll all the way over to the floor into a fetal position, using your left arm as a pillow, your right hand, your palm is on the floor. You're going to push yourself up. Try not to round your back. Come into unmute yourself and come into a floor-seated position to close the class. Bring your hand palms together, press them together strongly to start. And then let that go in just a soft prayer pose. You're going to lift the occipital ridge up toward the sky so you can nod forward without moving the spine, the cervical spine. The cervical spine stays straight. The skull moves over the top of the cervical spine, nodding, bowing, recognizing and acknowledging and honoring the light in each of us. And then knowing that we're all one light. We're going to close the class by saying to each other, Namaste. Namaste.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, everybody. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Mom.